Okay. All right, here we are again. Two healthy hens today, since school is back and the weather is changing and fall is coming. We decided to do a little conversation on immune boosting foods and activities. So, how do you build up your immune system? And you might need to pay attention to that as we go through the seasons, right? Like, I don't know about you, but every February my kids get sick. School starts in September, and that's when all of the germs, because they're all around each other and they start doing all the sports. But then the weather really changes. We have a big cold snap in February, and the kids, I mean, sometimes, well, when they were younger, all of February, they were spent sick. So I started paying attention to this cycle. And then there's preventative measures that I start in September so that we can have a healthy winter season. And winter actually doesn't start till January, if you didn't know that. But so winter starts in January. So by the time February hits, that's usually when all of the cold, germs and all that stuff starts. So we thought we would talk about immune boosting things that we can do.
Yep.
So
awesome. So we're going to talk about food first. Let's talk about food.
Okay.
And then we can go into activities.
Okay. So like basic, I know everyone probably already knows this. Eat the rainbow. All right. You want to make sure that you're getting all of your vitamins, A, D, E, and K. And you can get that through A, B, C, D, and K. And you want to make sure that you're getting that with eating the rainbow. So that's all of your colored fruits and veggies.
Yeah. So if you're looking for vitamin A, you can find it in the beta carotene rich veggies like carrots and spinach. Vitamin D, obviously your best source of vitamin D is sunlight, but in the winter it's a little harder because you're completely covered up when you go outside. But you can also find it in liver, grass-fed butter, fatty fish, egg yolks, cod liver oil. And then, I don't know did you say vitamin C? Vitamin C is a very common one, right? Because it's antiviral, antibacterial, it's an antihistamine. So you can get vitamin C in like papaya, red bell pepper, what else? Strawberries, oranges, goji berries.
Peppers are super high in C. The peppers, your bell pepper is actually a higher content of vitamin C than an orange.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, getting your vitamins is a good thing. Also, zinc and selenium are good. And you can find, well, selenium, you don't need a lot of it, but the highest concentration of selenium, Brazil nuts. All you need are a few. You don't need to eat them every day, but you don't need a lot of them, but it really is good. You can find zinc and selenium in liver, again, beef, oysters, scallops, seeds. I think sesame seeds and pumpkin seeds have it as well. So,
and that selenium is really good for your thyroid. So that's why you want to take that.
Yep. Absolutely. Mushrooms are another good one.
What kind of mushrooms?
So shiitake, maitake, chaga, reishi. There's turkey tail mushrooms, which I've never actually seen around here, but those are the ones that are, really good. They're really good. They're known for fighting cancer. So
chaga is really good for fighting cancer. Another chaga tea.
Yeah, and you can use them as a tea, a tincture. You can find a powder, or you can get them in capsules, or you can, the food. Obviously, you can just eat mushrooms. So now there's that mushroom coffee.
A portobello mushroom burger.
I have a thing from me. I'm huge on CanPrev products. I don't know why. I don't work for them, but I just love their products. And they have this powder that I use a lot during the winter, and it's got all that mushroom in it. It's immune boosting powder. It's really good. But I'm not promoting that stuff right now, but I'm just saying that you can get it, that kind of stuff, in all different forms, which is really good, right? So another thing, just individualized, not specific food, but I think I've told my story before that I was sick a lot, and that's what kind of turned me into nutrition, is because I was taxing my immune system just because I had food sensitivities. and food intolerances. So on an individual basis, you may want to find out what foods don't work with you and your body, because if you're eating something that your body doesn't like, what will happen is, and this is what happened to me, is my immune system was like, what is going on? We don't like whatever's in there. So they start fighting the food that I've just eaten instead of, so they're busy doing that. So if I go and, open a door that has like the influenza virus on it, which stays on handles and stuff for 24 hours, right? Then you touch your nose or you eat something and you haven't washed your hands, then you'll get sick because your body's fighting this other stuff. So that's just another thing to consider if you find yourself getting sick a lot and you're like, well, I eat my vitamin A, my D, my C, my K, my zinc, whatever, maybe it's something that your body's intolerant to. So it's always good to check out for sure. Food wise, I think that's it. I think that was it for, I think we mentioned everything. I don't know if there's anything else.
There's so echinacea. Echinacea
Yes.
tea is a big one. I usually put my kids on echinacea. I've said this 100 times before. So if you're familiar with what I like to say, unpasteurized raw honey, that is a major immune booster. So put that, I was telling my family, I said, I need to take like stocks out in honey because I spend so much money on honey, but it's raw and it's unpasteurized and we put it in our tea. And so if the kids are feeling a little under the weather, and especially September and February, like when the weather changes, I pump them full of echinacea tea with like 2 teaspoons of honey. Another one is, I don't know if you're familiar, of course, well, I'm a reflexologist. So if you like your oils, okay, I just want to kind of sidestep into the essential oils. Oregano oil is a very natural cleaner. It's really good to just kind of zap anything that might be, kind of, I think I might be able to like plant myself and infect you with something. But so have you ever tried taking pure oregano oil? Oh my God, it is disgusting and it will stay in you for.
Oh, you'll be burping that stuff up for days.
I gave it to my mom once. So funny. So anyway, but anyways, it kind of gives you nightmares. Like once you've done it, if you've diluted it or if you've shot it like pure, it's very strong and very potent. So what you can do is, this is your foot right here. Like this part of your foot is your lung reflex. So if you just rub oregano oil on this part of your foot at night and put your socks on and go to bed, this helps your lungs. Okay, you want to do it on both of your feet. If you don't want oregano because it's very intense, you can also use lavender. And yes, lavender is used to enhance sleep, but lavender actually will relax your throat reflex and allow air to get in there easier. So my daughter has had asthma and I've put lavender on her feet for years. And like we hardly have any issues anymore. But I did have her on puffers when she was really young. We no longer use puffers at all. And then I put her into an asthma clinic and they're telling me that if she needs a puffer because she gets like really sick, that's the only thing that would make her need a puffer. But she's an athlete, she can run, she has no problems breathing. We haven't had any kind of an episode. I don't want to say she's asthma free or we've kicked it, but by continuously using the lavender on her feet, and she's lazy, doesn't do it anymore, but I did it for many years throughout her childhood. She's a teenager now, and we seem to be, I don't want to say I'm free, but I do pump the echinacea tea. So I am like kind of on a rotation throughout the year, but the lavender and the oregano oil is like if you have a tickle in your throat, or if you're like, oh, I'm feeling really tired, put the lavender on your lung reflex, which is all right in here. So I just wanted to add that. Those would be the top two. There's other oils that do amazing things, but the top two would be oregano and lavender.
Yeah, I have to take the oregano in pills. I can't do the oil anymore. It's like too potent for me, but the pills seem to work. So, because I can get them down my throat at least, and but
it's intense. It is
my and you know what? One thing we didn't mention, not that we're getting into the supplements, but Cold FX, right? Uses
Yeah.
Canadian ginseng. That's another immune, the Canadian ginseng is a good thing too. If I feel a tickle coming on, I start taking that. It does work for some people. It works for me. It doesn't work for others. So, you could try it. It may or may not work for you, but
So if you're feeling like under the weather, just to have like give yourself a boost. There's ginseng tea, or you can have like
yeah.
the ginseng capsules. Yeah.
Yeah. My all-time go-to supplement though, for if I'm starting to feel, or if I know, like if somebody in my family's sick or whatever, I start taking the Andrographics complex. So good. I can't remember the name of the company. It was recommended by my naturopath many years ago, and I always have that on hand. It's not cheap, totally worth it, because it really does help boost your immune system.
Ashwagandha.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So ashwagandha is it's a root herb that you can take in pill form. You can get it at your local store. Just read the bottle. Some of them you take 1 pill a day, some of them you take 2 pills a day. But get that ashwagandha into you. I've been taking it for probably almost a year now, and I like have my family on it. Oh my gosh. Like,
yeah.
such a
And
difference.
it's funny because if you are getting sick because you're stressed, ashwagandha is good for that too, because it helps with adrenal fatigue. It helps with stress as well. So it's kind of, yeah, for sure.
Really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So, and then the other, I'm sure people know this, but no alcohol, no smoking, no vaping.
Yeah. So I don't know if people know why it is, but smoking compromises your immune system because it really compromises your lungs, right? So, and there's actually studies that have found that smoking actually can cause rheumatoid arthritis, and that's an
Really?
autoimmune disease, right?
Hmm.
So it's really interesting.
Well, your lungs are one of the 7 channels of elimination. And if we can take care of the 7 channels of elimination, then we are making sure that our immune system is healthy. And the lungs are on that list.
Yeah. And then for the alcohol, a lot of times alcohol triggers inflammation in your gut and destroys the microorganisms. Well, your gut is basically the root, you always start with the gut, right? So if you've messed up your gut, chances are your immune system will be taxed, and you're going to have a hard time fighting off anything that comes down the pike, for sure.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, the next one is like super, like, obviously, duh, wash your hands. There was, funny enough, I don't know if you remember back in the day, there was somebody that came out and said, no, the more you wash your hands, the worse it gets, because then I remember this happening.
What?
But it's like, if you don't wash your hands more, then you build up an immunity. That's not the case.
No,
That's not the case
that's
at all.
wrong.
Because like I said earlier, like the influenza virus stays on things for 24 hours. So you don't, you touch a doorknob that somebody's touched within 24 hours, it has the flu or COVID, or I don't know, whatever, anything. You touch it and then you're like washing, itching your nose, preparing food. It's like, just wash your hands before you prepare food, after you go to the bathroom, or use hand sanitizer if you're not near a sink. But yeah, wash your hands for sure. I think that's why kids are so sick, because getting them to wash their hands all the time is just brutal, right? And they get sick. So,
well, I think the other thing with kids too, that I think parents need to remember, is that kids are building their immune system. How do you build your immune system? You get sick, so a lot of it is they need to go through this, because the more you get hit, and as much as, oh, you don't want to get COVID, if you are not at high risk, COVID will build your immune system.
Yeah, it's like when everybody used to have the chicken pox parties, and then back in the day
just
before
get
we had
right,
just get it and be done with it. Yeah,
you've got to go
that.
through it, but it builds an immunity. So,
Yeah.
And the common cold, it just ends up building your immunity. And I know, like, I mean, God, my kids were sick all the time, but I mean, they're older now, right?
Yeah.
And so I would still. And building your immunity doesn't mean that you're building a shield so your kids can't get sick. You're not keeping them in a bubble, But what it does is it helps them recover.
Yeah.
They can still recover faster. And if you are giving them the healthy foods, the water, the sleep, the supplements, and yourself, even as an
Yeah.
adult, it changes the way your body, microorganisms, microbiomes are functioning, so
Yeah.
that our bodies are fighting and
Well,
we
that's,
are living
yeah.
healthier.
And that's, you brought up a good point, because it's not like by doing all this, you're not going to get sick. You'll get sick, you'll catch whatever, but the goal is to have your body fight it faster.
Yes.
So, and that's what I've learned from just being sick a lot when I was younger, fixing my immune system. And it was like, I used to get sinus infections and I'd have them for like 6 to 8 weeks. Now, if I get a sinus infection, a couple days, I'm good to go.
Right.
Because my body knows how to fight it now. So that's what you're looking for. It's not like you're never going to get sick. You're going to get sick, but your body's ready to fight because it's not fighting anything else in your system, because you're eating good, you're sleeping well, lowering your stress. We haven't talked about that yet. Sleep is huge. I mean, because our bodies repair when we sleep, right? So you need to get good and adequate sleep so your body can repair overnight and take care of you. Because if you're not getting that sleep, it's just adding stress. Sleep deprivation actually depresses your immune system. So you need to do that. And then your body gets stressed. And we talked a little bit about the stress, but chronic stress has many, many bad effects on health. And one of them is, taxing your immune system, because you're in that fight or flight mode. And what happens when you're in fight or flight mode? Your system shut down.
Your system shuts down.
So you're not going to the bathroom, your bowels aren't working, your immune system's ready to fight whatever is going to happen, but it's fighting, it's just shutting down, because it's like everything is going to just getting away from that saber-toothed tiger or whatever you're running from.
Or you're having the complete opposite and you're crapping everything out and you can't eat, you have a hard time drinking, you can't sleep because your stress level is up here and your body just will not relax. Like you cannot bring it down because you are in that heightened, like your body is just like, woo, we're not gonna do anything you want me to do.
Well, exactly. And it's because of that hormone cortisol, right? Yeah. So if your cortisol is super high off the charts, your melatonin is going to be super low. You're not getting the sleep you need. And then it affects everything else. So, it affects all those, blood cells, those little white blood cells that you need that helps, protect your immune system. So absolutely.
And if you're susceptible to cold sores, well, that will just trigger and all of your face will break out and your lips will get cold sores.
It's the worst, because you get that
hair
little
will fall out.
I know, it's the worst, man. And then I think one other thing we haven't talked about is just maintaining a healthy weight will help you, right? With your
reduction of processed foods and sugar, because sugar, as much as it's a pleasure center in our mouth, our bodies don't need it, and adding that extra sugar, like your body's too busy trying to fight and move the sugar instead of heal. We have rest and digest, feel and heal.
Right.
And your body is not resting and digesting or feeling and healing when we're packing it full of processed crappy food or chemical food or sugar.
Yep. And then what happens is if you have that excess body fat, specifically fat in your belly, the abdominal fat, it triggers these pro-inflammatory immune cells, right? So, and that promotes inflammation in your body. So if you've already got all this inflammation in your body, guess what? Your immune system is trying to fight that inflammation. So again, you touch a doorknob, you're going to get sick. So, and we're talking like, a healthy weight is something where you're, BMI is kind of like one of those things where may and may not work very well.
I hate the BMI.
I know, but it's one of those things where it's an easy way to do it. If you have a BMI of 30 or more, then that's where you're going to have the problem. Right.
Yeah.
So that's because, weight is an interesting thing because, how do you know you're overweight? You may not be. But BMI is at least one of those things where it's like, all right, here's a good, yardstick or whatever to kind of figure it out. And I think another way is if your waist circumference is 35 inches or more, that could be a problem as well. I think that's another indicator. So just one of those things. Exercise. Did we talk about exercise?
No, but sweating and exercise is another channel of elimination. So we want to make sure that our lymphatic system is turned on. And the only way to do that is through sweating. So sweating detoxes you, literally detoxes you. It is one way. I mean, pooping and peeing. So getting enough water, enough sleep, because you want to have enough energy to get that sweat on. So a healthy sweat gives you a healthy glow, gives you more energy, boosts your immune system, make sure that
get your blood flowing
properly, your circulatory system is turned on, your cardiovascular, same thing, your respiratory, your nervous system, all that. I mean, all that good stuff. So, but it's by taking care of your organs and taking care of your channels of elimination, you are creating a healthy system, right? Mm-hmm. And so you've only got one body. Why not? Why not take an opportunity to turn it into the healthiest version of you?
Yeah.
What have you got to lose? Weight.
Easier said than done. We know, but
I know
it's just
and it's consistency. But again, like if you're looking at doing certain immune boosting activities during the year, when do you get sick? If you're getting sick all the time, like Renee said, I was chronically sick, then we really need to pick apart what's going on inside your guts. If you need to do certain immune boosting activities and take some supplements, weather pending, or when the kids go back to school, or if you're going to do some traveling, if you know that you're going to be going on a plane and you're going to be doing some bus tours, or if you're going to be doing some guided tours where you're around a lot of strangers, I mean, everybody brings a host of germs, right? So I would be amping up my system and making sure that I've got better fighting abilities before going on a trip, before being in crowds of people, or before the weather changes, or going back to school. I mean, maybe you're changing jobs and you're working around, if you're waitressing or if you're bartending and you're, interacting with more people. If you're at a desk behind, a desk and you're in your own office, I'm not too worried about that, right? Make sure you wash your hands. But I mean, it's common sense, right? But I started having, like, I put my family on, on a schedule, like an annual schedule based on when the kids were going back to school, right? So that we could transition smoother. It took a little while, but it did start to work. And I did have to watch their sugar consumption. And the more you learn, the more you know, the more aware you are, of all of this, then it just turns into a better pattern, a better schedule for you.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, comment on this video or send us an email. I think it's in our on our channel as well.
I think the last one I want to say though, and we kind of touched this before we hit record, it's laughter. Just like the happy buttons definitely help to improve your immune system. The happier you are, the more you express joy, the more grateful you are, the more you can just sit and appreciate your life and giggle, that raises your vibrations. And when you can change your vibrations, you are connecting to outsourced energies, and that kind of acts as a boomerang, which does strengthen your immune system. And a lot of happy people recover from crappy situations, whether that be a stressful situation, an emotional situation, a physical situation, or like an illness. Our recovery rate statistically has been shown to improve and be faster the happier we are.
Absolutely.
So, easier said than done. But if you could just wake up and be grateful, look at your children or your family or your dog or your home and be happy, showcasing whatever, all right, quick little story before we head out here. In Peter Pan, let's bring you specifically to Hook. Okay. I want you to think of Hook with Robin Williams. And when his son is like corrupted by the hook, and then Peter Pan has to come and rescue him, and he's staring at him and he's like, Dad, you can fly. And he's like, all you have to do is think a happy thought. And he said, you know what my happy thought is? It was you, the day that I became a dad. So what is your happy thought? What brings you joy? And if you can connect to that and figure out that one thought that you keep that brings you joy and just changes, you'll feel it. You'll feel a rush. It'll come in the middle of your stomach, the pit of your stomach, up your legs, rush up your back, maybe along your bra strap, or maybe it's all over your head. Wherever you get those shivers, it'll be in one spot. You share that below. Let us know your happy thought, because when you change your vibrations, right there, you've increased your immune system.
Yeah. Awesome.
All of it works.
Yep.
All right. That's all I have to say.
Awesome.
Okay. We'll see you next week. Mwah.
Bye.